just at the end of the year, Justin Roiland decided to release High Life, a comedic first-person shooter game with action-adventure, Metroidvania elements. If you don't know who Justin Roiland is, he's the creator of Rick and Morty.
But from that is...
Jerry, get out of the booth, take all your clothes off, and fold yourself 12 times.
You got it.
One of the most popular shows, if not the most popular show on Adult Swim, as well as a bunch of other TV projects he's involved in. But Roiland has been known to dabble in game creation as well, with his company Squanch Games, and yes, that's actually the name of his company, has produced titles like Trover Saves the Universe, Space Heroes, and my personal favorite, Accounting.
World! Well, who are you? Hey, no, don't touch these goggles! Those are my goggles! Put it back! This is my stuff! You're taking my stuff! Get out of here! You don't know how to use those goggles! What is this? This is your place? This is my place! This isn't your place!
I'll be honest, I didn't take Squanch Games as a company seriously until this release. When I saw the trailer for High Life and the scale at which they were doing this game, I fully understood that they were actually trying with this title. And to clock in at this time of the year was a good indicator that they weren't going for flowers in the Game Award or mainstream publicity. If they wanted to do that, they would have released in the summer. But rather, they just wanted to release a game that was ready when it was ready, rather than push it to next year. But anyways, today I'm going to be breaking the game down into bits and talking about my experience so far, as I haven't finished the game yet. I got it like 4 days ago.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I'm gonna keep this segment as short as I can. I've had absolutely no optimization problems with this game so far. For context, as the game progresses, you defeat bosses and you get little talking weapons that aid you in your adventure. And I've gotten over half of them so far, so like I'm assuming that equates to halfway done with the game, at least from what I've seen. And yeah, I've had no frame drops, I've had no stutters, no cuts, and everything's on high. I'm impressed with that in the sense that usually with titles like this, I expect to run into a fair handful of problems, but thankfully everything ran smoothly. Squanch Games has actually had a fairly good track record when it comes to optimization, and I'm glad to see that that hasn't changed. And I'm not even really surprised. I know that they spent a lot of time making VR set games, and with those, optimization is key. You can't have stuttering in a game where your eyes are glued to the screen. It won't. It ruins the entire experience. So the experience under their belt definitely helped. Graphically, I also was not disappointed. This game runs on the Unreal Engine, and I must say, at least in my opinion, I'm surprised with what they did with the title. It's nothing groundbreaking. I mean, it's not, of course, like I'm ogling at the graphics for this game, but to see them use an engine that a lot of indie game developers use and use it well is always refreshing. Sure, the game doesn't really deal with humanoid environments or humanoid characters all that much. I mean, I think one of the main humanoid people you see is your sister, but like past that, you're really dealing with globs and weird looking goblins and wide-eyed weird aliens. So like, but I still wasn't walking around thinking it looks ugly. I've played games where you walk around and it just looks nasty. I think that's really all I have to say about visuals. If you're expecting Red Dead Redemption, you're not gonna get it. If you're expecting, I don't know, Nintendo 64, you're not gonna get it. Okay, so bear with me here for the story. Earth has been invaded by a malicious alien G3 cartel who seek to use the native human population as drugs. So basically think like rolling the human race into a blunt. Playing the role of a human bounty hunter and aided by a number of living weapons called GAAAHLEEs, the player must navigate through the galaxy to hunt down G3 cartel's leadership in order to save humanity. It sounds outlandish and absolutely all over the place, and that's because it is, but in a good way, really, if you think about it. As Roiland is a writer for Rick and Morty, a show about a boy and his grandpa traveling the galaxy and going on adventures, you can imagine some of his outlandish creatures and ideas definitely find their way into the games he creates. To really cut to the heart of the game, if you enjoy Justin Roiland's comedic antics on the shows he writes or the previous titles that Squanch Games were involved with, then odds that you enjoy High Life are, well, high. No pun intended. I was laughing my ass off from the tutorial portion, so it's safe to say that it hits the nail on the head when it comes to comedy and voice acting.
Alright, Buck, you're gonna have to use the brand new double jump to... Oh shit, I'm sorry, Buck. I forgot there's no double jump, just crouch. We gotta try crouching, Buck. Fuck fucking scheduling and scoping bullshit. A fucking crouch prioritized over a double jump. Who is this? Who are these people above us?
And speaking of voice acting, I was pleasantly surprised to hear Sarah Silverman casted for the sister character. She kills a lot of the roles she's given, and I'm always left giving her props for her performances. I'm actually surprised she's not a shoo-in for more voice acting slots since she did so well in Wreck-It Ralph. But of course, since it's a Squanch Games production, without a doubt the star of the show, voice acting wise, is Justin himself, taking on several different voice acting roles in the game and absolutely killing them in his classic Rick and Morty-esque voice.
Okay, you cheated. I know you cheated there. You weren't supposed to do it that way, but that's fine. We encourage the player to do whatever they want. That's okay. We're not gonna dock you points for that.
I love when you can hear voice actors in the booth just having fun with the character that they were given and making it funny by just improvising. All of this to say, the story itself isn't Life is Strange levels of writing. I mean, the synopsis that I gave you is basically the bare bones of the entire story. You're a bounty hunter, you're trying to take down the cartel. Cut and dry. If you're looking for something with a lot more depth and more layers, then this is definitely not it. But conceptually, the story fits perfectly for what Squanch wanted to do with this game. So I can't really be mad at that. Anyways, next point. Gameplay is an interesting point for me. Let's first talk about the difficulty levels. So there are 3 different levels of difficulty to choose from: Story, Normal, and Hunter. I originally started the game on Normal, and at about the 4 or 5 hour mark, I just couldn't do it anymore. The enemies and AI were laughably bad, just running into bullets left, right, and center, willingly getting stabbed and slaughtered. It was just lacking for me. And to be honest, even after turning it up to Hunter mode, I was still just a little disappointed. I will say a part of it may just be because of the game's clear and unwavering inspiration that it bites from Borderlands. I mean, the team clearly fell in love with Gearbox's latest release, Tiny Tina's Wonderland, because boy oh boy does this game reflect tropes from the Borderlands series. Same shield, health bar mechanic, same comedic annoying type of enemies that pop up during random walk scenes, hell, even down to the villain boss intros.
Light the fuses, bitches!
And with all of these parallels drawn to the Borderlands series, it's hard not to compare it by difficulty and gameplay, and Borderlands is unbeatable when it comes to their own lane. Regardless, the game is slightly more bearable on the Hunter difficulty than the normal one, and only God knows what story difficulty is. Probably like Kitty Playpen or something like that, I don't know. Am I having fun with the game? Yes, I think so. Is it because of the gameplay? That I don't know about. My enjoyment of this game revolves around the anticipation of what the next talking weapon will be, and how it will talk and interact with the world around it. So I guess it's all sort of a means to an end, which is kind of how this entire game experience feels. Like you're a bounty hunter searching for different drug cartel members around the galaxy, and as cool as that sounds, you're really just working your way down a list and hopping into the portal to take you exactly where you need to go. There's no exploration, there's no travel, it's really just connect the dots type of gameplay. Ultimately, there's aspects of the gameplay that I enjoy, like the platforming segments. Those were always fun to do. There's a couple of cool gun mechanic bits here and there, and it is fun exploring a new level segment. They try to have different puzzles in them and all that good stuff. But on the other hand, there's also aspects that I'm not quite fond of. Like the enemy hordes kind of get old after a while. It kind of starts to feel like you go here, you platform, and then oh wow, a horde of enemies show up. Then you kill them, and then you go here and platform, and then a horde of enemies show up. And again, Borderlands has the same structure, but they have mastered the art of painting it with details that make it feel new every time. Other aspects I don't like are the walking sim portions, where you're kind of just walking around looking for an item or an individual just to tell them you need something, and then go back to where you came from to tell another person. You just go back and forth having these dialogues that ultimately are really just a platform for more comedy. And overall, these pros and cons just end up clashing in my face and just leaving me with a bitter mid taste in my mouth. At least I could have a laugh along the way, but ultimately I don't know how much longer I can handle the gameplay being like this. Conclusion time. Listen, a funny thing happened to me while I was making this video. I was really passionate about getting my thoughts out on the game, but as I mentioned in the previous section, my patience just started wearing thin for this game as I continued playing. I got a little bit farther than what I mentioned previously in the video. I started playing more during the creation of this video, and the game just continued to bore me. The game continued to bore me, at least on the gameplay side of it. It really sucks again because it feels like the classic toxic ex situation where you want to stay with them, but you know it's bad, but you still are having fun, and they're funny, but you know it's bad. Still, ultimately, this is a very bad sign. I was really hoping that this was something, a hump in the hill that I could get over when it comes to gameplay. Mainly because, you know, I enjoy the comedy, I enjoy the visuals of it, I enjoy the guns talking, but I don't know, it's just that Borderlands thing is a big aspect for me. They are trying to compete, at least for me. Borderlands, if you don't know, is one of my favorite FPS titles. I love a lot of the series. I loved Borderlands 2. I loved the pre-sequel. I loved 3. I think 3 was a great nod to fans of the series. And I even played Tales from the Borderlands, the Telltale title. It was all very, like, Borderlands is one of my favorite titles. So for an indie company to kind of take their formula and try to put a spin on it with the talking guns meant it was funny, but did not mean it could top my expectations gameplay-wise. And I'm sorry, but that's a big aspect of games like this. I was talking to a buddy of mine, and we were just talking about how while you're playing, the animations for the deaths are not as pleasing. That you don't get the same feeling shooting an AR-15 in Call of Duty than you do shooting a squanch gun. That's definitely not what it's called. I just like the word squanch. I know why they called their company Squanch Games now, but I digress. I slowly stopped feeling anything for this game, and it definitely switched the pace for how I wanted to come at it with this conclusion. I'll put it like this, to be honest. If you like Justin Roiland and you think he is the funniest guy on the earth, you're gonna enjoy this game. There are really funny portions of this game that I'm glad I listened to. And again, I love Sarah Silverman. I love the voice actor for the fat guy. Let me actually look his name up. I love Michael Cusack as Knifey. I love JB Smoove as Gus. A lot of great voice acting. It's just that gameplay front. What I will say is that I'm proud of the team at Squanch Games. They got this game out in a timely manner, and it was a lot different than what they were doing in the past. If you look back at the previous Squanch Game titles, a lot of them have an affinity for just being adventure games in the sense that you're just living through the eyes of a character while they go on a certain journey. But this game, they said, we want to make an FPS that is unique. And to be fair, there is not a lot of games worth talking guns, so I will give them that point of contention. But yeah, for this review, out of 10, I'm gonna give this game a 5. That's directly down the middle for me. It's not exactly bad, but it's not exactly something I'm gonna be coming back to. I'm not gonna replay this game, that's for sure. I feel like I'm watching an interactive comedy skit. That's what I feel like I'm watching. Not a bad thing, but not a great thing either. Anyways, thank you for watching. Thank you for tagging along. Next week's video is going to be on DigiTales, and I'm very excited for that one, so I hope you are too. Leave a like if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Let's do the fade out. Let's do the fade out. Yeah, and add the cheers, I want it to be like a